preliminary hearing. The court at this time will go on the Zoom record. Case is entitled State of Kansas versus Travis Michael Graham, 25 CR 181.
Hello.
State of Kansas appears by Assistant Butler County Attorney Amber Norris. The defendant, Mr. Graham, appears in person and by court-appointed counsel Jim Watts. This matter does regularly come back before the court this date for preliminary hearing. And are the parties ready to proceed, Ms. Norris?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Watts?
Jim, you're on mute.
You're on mute?
Yes, Your Honor. Would ask witnesses be sequestered, please.
And Your Honor, the defendant also filed a motion to proceed pro se. I don't know if the court wants to take that up now.
Thank you, Ms. Norris. The court does find that filed on April 24, 2025, there was a motion to proceed pro se. And then that's the title of the motion. And it states, I, Travis M. Graham, being of sound mind, wish to proceed pro se in any all cases, thereby asserting my 14th Amendment right to self-representation. I also assert my wish for legal advice via appointed counsel. So Mr. Watts has been appointed as counsel herein.
This is Zach's fault.
And the court will proceed in that means and manner.
Thank you, Zach.
Subsequently, the court will order the sequestration of witnesses herein.
And Your Honor, it's my understanding that I'll be representing Mr. Graham this afternoon rather than him proceeding directly pro se.
So is he withdrawing his motion, Jim?
Is that correct, Mr. Graham? You're
Yes,
withdrawing
I'm
your
withdrawing my
motion?
motion to proceed pro se, and I will stick with Mr. Watts as my appointed attorney, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Graham.
You're welcome, sir.
Amber, who do I need to sequester?
We'll start with Tom Moore, and the rest of the individuals would need to be sequestered.
Thank you. And does that include Rella?
Yes, she is a witness.
Okay, thank you.
All right, it appears everyone has been sequestered from the proceedings. Deputy Moore, I'm going to ask you if you please raise your right hand. I'll administer an oath. You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause now in hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, Your Honor.
Deputy Moore, please speak slowly and distinctly. Please be sure to wait until the question is fully asked before you answer. Beginning with direct examination, Ms. Norris.
Please state your name and occupation for the record.
Deputy Thomas Moore, Jr., Deputy for the Butler County Sheriff's Department.
And how long have you been in law enforcement?
22 years.
Okay. And were you working as a law enforcement officer on April 15th of this year?
No, ma'am.
And did you have contact with Rella Shepard on April 15th?
Yes, ma'am.
And can you just explain to the court how and where that happened?
She is the mother of my son-in-law, and I was working on a vehicle in my driveway at 433 North Orchard Street in El Dorado, and they came to my residence because she needed to speak with me.
Who's they?
Blake Watkins and Rella Shepard.
Okay. And so you're off duty, and why did they come to speak to you?
Because her son is my son-in-law, and she
And
just had questions.
is that Blake Watkins?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Blake Watkins is your son-in-law, and that's her son, and she had some questions.
Yes, ma'am.
And what sorts of things did you talk with Miss Shepard about?
First, she said she had some questions for me, and then she lifted up her glasses, her sunglasses, and she had a bruised, I believe, right eye. And she stated that she had got in a fight the day prior at her residence with her boyfriend. And she stated that he had hit her, and she had hit her so hard that she said she passed out, and then she kept trying to get up for like 2 hours and kept throwing up. That was the first part of it. Then she stated that he went to jail through El Dorado the next day, or the same day, and he called her when he was bonding out. She went to pick him up. They got in another altercation in El Dorado where he bit her multiple times and took her purse and her gun.
Okay. And what did once she was, I guess, done telling you what happened, what did you do with that information?
She just wanted to come speak with me because she wanted to know how to get him out of the house, but she did not want him in trouble. And I explained to her that it's a domestic violence incident, so I had to report it. I called dispatch, and then I believe they called El Dorado PD, and sheriff's deputies and El Dorado PD showed up at my house to talk with her, and I went back to working on my vehicle.
Okay, so El Dorado PD and the sheriff's office both came to your house?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And after that initial conversation with her, did you have any more involvement in basically these two cases?
No, ma'am. I just El Dorado talked to him, and the sheriff's department talked to him. I just went back to work on my car and didn't have any more involvement.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't have any further questions, but Mr. Watts may have some follow-up.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Cross-examination, Mr. Watts.
Sir, I'm trying to make sense of this, of some of this. Are you at a North Orchard address? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and we're on a public, I'm not going to get into the address on a public site. So the officers respond to your address, correct?
Yes, sir.
And at that point, they begin speaking with Ms. Graham and Mr. Watkins, and that's pretty much the end of your involvement, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I just went back
Okay.
to working on a vehicle.
What? The officers respond to his address for a call that he made. I mean, that's weird.
Okay, I have nothing else. Thank you.
Any redirect, Miss Norris?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Any reason why Deputy Moore may not be excused from the proceedings, Miss Norris?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Watts?
No, sir, thank you.
And Deputy Moore, you're free to go or stay as you wish.
Thank you, sir.
And statement call its next witness, Miss Norris.
Your Honor, the state calls Detective Sperry.
Hello.
And Detective Sperry, you've been called as the next witness. If you'd raise your right hand, I'll administer an oath. You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause now in hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do.
Please speak slowly and deliberately. Please be sure to wait until the question is fully asked before you answer so we can take a good Zoom record. Please proceed with direct examination. Ms. Norris.
Please state your name and occupation for the record.
Carmen Sperry. I'm a detective with the Butler County Sheriff's Office
And how long have you been in law enforcement?
since 1999.
And how long with the sheriff's office?
Since 2003 as a reserve, 2004 full-time.
And how long as a detective?
Since October 2009.
Okay. And were you involved in a case that occurred, April 14, 15 of 2025 with Rella Shepard?
Yes, I was dispatched out on April 15th for a call involving
Okay.
Shepard.
And where did you go?
To an address in the 400 block of Orchard Street in El Dorado, Kansas.
Okay. And did you meet with Miss Shepard there?
Yes, there were multiple officers on scene that was already speaking with her when I arrived. I just briefly saw her at the scene and decided we need to do a further interview with her at the sheriff's office.
Okay. And did you interview her?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And what did she tell you happened?
Miss Shepard told me on the morning of August
Yes,
14th.
Your Honor, hearsay.
Your Honor, Miss Shepard is available and will be testifying. And Mr. Watts didn't object to when Deputy Moore was talking about what Miss Shepard said. So,
All right, the court does understand the individual, Ms. Shepard, is available. Court overrules the objection to hearsay. Please proceed.
Detective Sperry.
Miss Shepard told me on the morning of April 14th, about 9:30 a.m., that Travis Graham, her boyfriend that she resided with in Towanda, had gotten up and she didn't have breakfast ready for him, and he became upset, and they were involved in a disturbance, a physical disturbance.
Okay. And based on the information that she provided, what kind of disturbance? Were there weapons involved?
Well, she did mention there was a screwdriver that he'd put to her neck, but she also mentioned that he was hitting her with an open hand all over her head, and that he threw her into the bathtub several times, and that she never hit him back.
Okay. And where did that happen at?
At their residence in Towanda, Kansas.
Okay. And did she have injuries consistent with the information that she provided you?
Yes, she did. She had bruising, cuts and abrasions from the top of her head clear down to her feet. On her right eye, she had a bruising and cut around the outside of it. Her right side of her jawline, I observed there was bruising. I did photograph all the injuries that I did observe. And bruising on her scalp, bruising on the left side of her face, on her shoulder. There was a circular mark, bruise on her arm, on her left arm, right above the elbow. Bruises on her right arm.
Okay. And this happened at where she was living with the defendant, Travis Graham in Towanda?
Yes, she advised it happened at the residence. Let me look at the address. 408 East North Street, Towanda, Butler County, Kansas.
Okay. And did you have any contact with or talked to Travis Graham, the defendant, about what happened?
No, I did not.
And did Miss Shepard seek medical attention for her injuries?
Yes, she did. She had also reported to me during the altercation that he had grabbed her by the neck, and she believed that when he did that, he lifted her off of her feet. And I had a concern for strangulation and the blows that she said she took to her head, and I referred her to forensic nursing.
Okay. And it was your understanding that she did go to Via Christi?
Yes, she did. She went to forensic nursing on April 17th. I know she tried to go on the 16th, and there was some type of miscommunication, and they didn't see her that day. And so she was able to go on the 17th.
And based on the information that she provided and the injuries that you saw, what sorts of charges were you requesting regarding the defendant, Travis Graham?
Aggravated domestic violence due to the strangulation or the potential strangulation, her talking about being grabbed by the neck, lifted up. She would report when we did the strangulation form that she had dizziness, headaches, feeling faint, that she vomited after the incident, and I had a concern that she had some serious injuries.
Okay. Now, did you have any additional conversation, I guess, with, were there any, you didn't talk to Mr. Graham, the defendant. Did someone else in your department talk to Mr. Graham about any of this information?
Yes, he was interviewed by somebody else. I'm not sure. I don't recall who, but I did not interview him.
Okay. Thank you, Detective Sperry. I don't think I have any further questions, but Mr. Watts may have some follow-up.
Sure.
Thank you, Ms. Norris. Cross-examination, Mr. Watts.
I don't think I have any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any reason why Detective Sperry may not be excused from the proceedings, Ms. Norris?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Watts?
No, Your Honor.
And Detective Sperry, you're free to go or stay as you wish.
Thank you, Your Honor.
State may call its next witness.
Your Honor, state calls Officer Devin Haynes.
And Officer Darren Haynes, if you would unmute yourself, and if you'd raise your right hand, I'll administer an oath. You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause now in hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Detective Haynes, please speak slowly and distinctly. Please wait until the question is fully asked before you answer, so we may take a good Zoom record. Please proceed with direct examination. Ms. Norris.
Please state your name and occupation for the record.
Detective Lieutenant Devin Haynes, El Dorado Police Department.
And how long have you been in law enforcement?
I've been in law enforcement for 23 years.
And how long with El Dorado?
3 years.
And how long as the detective lieutenant?
I started that position in April of 2025. I've been a detective with this agency since July of 2023, so almost
Okay.
3 years, or 2 years,
Nice.
excuse me.
And detective, are you familiar with the defendant Travis Graham?
Yes,
Why are you familiar with him?
because of a case that I helped investigate back in April of this year.
Okay. And can you tell me about that case?
Yeah, I was on April 15th, I was informed that Mr. Graham had been arrested in connection with an incident that had occurred in El Dorado earlier that morning. And he was brought to the El Dorado Police Department and placed in a secure interview room. And I was asked to assist Detective Akers with an interview.
Okay. And so you sat in, or did you participate in the interview?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And based and what sort of information were you able to glean from Mr. Graham regarding any criminal activity?
Love it. Hope you're going somewhere good.
He made a couple of admissions during the interview that had to do with an altercation or an argument that occurred between him and his girlfriend, Miss Shepard, the day before, and then again that day, specifically that day, April 15th, 2025, in El Dorado on North Denver Street.
And what were those?
He stated that there was an argument that occurred between the two of them during which she had tried to collect her purse out of a car, and that he had that he had taken the car and driven it back to Towanda after the argument. During the argument, he said that he had discovered that the purse was still in the car. He denied knowing that it was in the car prior to that, and that later on he found out that there was a firearm in the purse when he searched the purse, which he admitted belonged to Miss Shepard. He was searching the purse for the purpose of trying to locate his cell phone.
Okay. And whose vehicle did he take?
He identified it as belonging to both he and Miss Shepard.
And were you able to confirm if he was actually a registered owner?
I don't recall. I believe that the vehicle was illegally registered at the time, or that the tag that was on the vehicle was not registered to that specific vehicle that was being driven.
Okay. And did you speak with Miss Shepard regarding what happened there in El Dorado?
I did not know.
Did someone from your department speak with her while you were speaking with Mr. Graham?
I believe Miss Shepard was interviewed by Detective Sergeant Ken Tamont with El Dorado PD and Detective Sperry with the Butler County Sheriff's Office.
It should be on a 2025.
And did the defendant, you said the defendant made some admissions specifically about the incidents that happened with Miss Shepard?
Yes.
And what were those?
According to Mr. Graham, he stated that he had, I apologize. Will it be okay if I review my reports in this matter to
Please.
refresh my memory? He stated that he denied knowing why we had detained him and that Miss Shepard had picked him up after he'd been released from jail that morning at around 7:30 a.m. Regarding an incident that had occurred in El Dorado the day prior that caused him to be taken to jail. He said that they drove to a friend's house and he gave the first name of Kimberly as the name of the friend, but did not know her last name. He said that he and Miss Shepard argued, and I quote, tit for tat argument over who would take the car after she requested to be dropped off at the friend's house. And according to Mr. Graham, he said that she had told him to take the car and then changed her mind and tried to take the keys away from him, and which caused him to push her away. And during that physical altercation, she had honked the horn on the car. He said that she then went inside the friend's house, and that he originally said that he had parked the car on the street and walked to his friend's house, but later admitted that he had driven the car away from the house, despite having a suspended driver's license at the time.
And did he make any admissions regarding what he had done to Miss Shepard was wrong?
Yes, he did. He expressed a lot of remorse and made statements that he was sorry for what he'd done to her, but would not describe exactly what he did to her.
Okay. And did he leave some sort of a note?
He stated that he did, but I never saw the note. And I believe he said that the note was left at their shared residence in Towanda, Kansas.
Okay. And was this an apology note, or did he say?
The way he described it is that in the note, he apologized for what he had done to her.
Okay. And you requested charges on the defendant. And what were they, and why did you make those requests?
Yeah, in my affidavit, I cited aggravated battery, physical contact in any manner whereby disfigurement may be inflicted because of the. I had been informed that during her interview, Ms. Shepard had said that she had received an injury on, I believe, her arm from a bite that had been inflicted by Mr. Graham, which the bite mark caused an injury. The aggravated robbery I requested was due to the fact that, or due to my belief that Mr. Graham had knowingly taken an item of property from Miss Shepard, being her purse, by force, and had known that there was a a firearm inside the purse at the time and had inflicted injury during the course of that act. And then the criminal possession of a firearm charge by a convicted felon. Based on a check of his criminal history, it was found to be that he was a convicted felon and was knowingly in possession of a firearm that was in her purse.
And why did you believe that he was knowingly in possession of the firearm?
When asked if he had possessed any weapons, he initially said that he had not, but later admitted that he knew that the gun was in the purse at the time. He made a statement that he had. Sorry, let me refer to my report here.
I specifically said I did not know.
Mr. Graham, you either need to be muted or you need to not be speaking.
He's lying. He's not checking his nose.
Will someone, Deputy,
Mr.
one moment, Lieutenant Haynes. Well, that looks like they just muted, so we should be good now.
Okay. According to my recollection, I asked Mr. Graham if he had any was in possession of any weapons. He said he didn't own firearms, which I didn't actually use the word firearms or guns when I asked the question. He says he didn't. I quote, "I don't even like guns." I reminded him that I never said the word guns when I asked the question, and he said he knew that that's what we were talking about because those are the only weapons that they have besides kitchen knives. I believe he was referring to himself and Miss Shepard, which contradicted his statement that he didn't know anything about firearms and led me to believe that he did actually know that there was a firearm in her purse.
Okay. And Your Honor, I previously sent an email to the court and counsel. It is a Sedgwick County journal entry 2020 CR 17.
Which the bite mark caused an injury.
5-1, where it shows, we'd ask that the court accept that court record, and that shows that he is a convicted felon as of August 19, 2021.
Thank you, Ms. Norris. Any objection, Mr. Watts?
No objection to the admission of the document from Sedgwick County.
And the same is admitted into evidence.
Now, the aggravated robbery request, we do explain the information that you had that made you make the aggravated robbery request charge.
Yes, the based on conversations that I had with other officers and with Detective Akers, the victim, Miss Shepard, had stated that she had had possession of her purse and he took it from her. Mr. Graham had taken it from her, and when she had tried to get it back, he had physically kept it from her, tried to push her away from him when she physically asserted herself to try to get it back, and had bitten her during that process, and then drove away in a vehicle knowing that the purse was in the car, and knowing that the firearm was in the purse as well. And based on that, I felt like that fit the statute for robbery, due to the level of force used and the fact that there was an injury incurred as a result of that force.
Okay. And Did she also tell you that, well, that he took the vehicle in that same incident?
Yes.
And the person that you interviewed, do you see that person on the screen today?
Yes, I do.
And if you could describe him for the court.
Yes. He's the man sitting in a red jumpsuit with a white t-shirt in the screen that says Butler County Detention Facility.
Okay, and how did he identify himself, or how did you identify him?
He was brought to the El Dorado Police Department by a member of the sheriff's office, I believe, and they identified him to me as Mr. Shepard, or excuse me, Mr. Graham.
Okay, and did he confirm that for you?
Yes, he did.
Your Honor, would ask that the record reflect that the witnesses identified the defendant.
The record may so reflect.
Thank you, Detective Lieutenant. I don't think I have any further questions, but Mr. Watts may have some follow-up.
Okay.
Cross-examination, Mr. Watts.
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective, it's kind of a mess of a set of facts here, isn't it? You interviewed Mr. Graham, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You did not interview Ms. Make sure I get the names right here. Can I figure out whoever, Ms. Shepard, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And as far as your knowledge, Ms. Shepard's been interviewed by Brene Sperry and I can't remember someone else from the police department, correct?
Yes, Detective Tamont.
Okay, Tamont. You did not sit in on that interview, correct?
I observed part of it remotely from another room via a video camera system, but I did not see the full interview or hear everything that was being said.
Okay, you observed part of it. So you got to
Yes.
see and hear, I assume.
Yes.
Okay. How much of it? The first part, the second part, 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
Probably 10, 15 minutes toward the first part, I would say.
Okay. Do you have any idea how long that interview went total?
No, I do not.
Okay. So you observed the first 10 to 15 minutes or so of the interview. At that point, did you go looking for Mr. Graham?
At that point, I had already been informed that he had been taken into custody in Towanda.
Okay. And once you were informed he was taken into custody, was he going to be brought to you? Was he going to the sheriff's department? What happened from there?
I don't recall the exact logistical plans that were made. I believe the original plan might have been to take him to the sheriff's office, but that was changed since Miss Shepard was already there, and for availability of interview space, someone decided I may have decided or helped decide that he should go to the police department instead to keep the two separate.
Okay. So he's taken to El Dorado PD and you do the interview with him, correct?
Myself and Detective Akers, yes.
Okay. Now, there are, as I understand it, essentially two incidents here, correct?
Roughly, yes.
One in Towanda, a second allegedly in El Dorado.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I am working kind of in a written statement from looks like a 5-page affidavit that you wrote. Is that correct?
Yes, my affidavit was 5 pages. Yes.
Did you file a longer or more detailed report? Or was that affidavit essentially your narrative of what you did?
I filed the affidavit. I also provided the county attorney's office with 2 other narrative reports that were more detailed.
Okay, what's that mean? Shoe leather narrative reports.
2 other narratives.
two-
I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, I'm old. My ears apparently aren't worth a crap anymore. All right, 2 other narratives. The reason I'm asking is I'm looking through what I have for those other narratives and I don't see them. All right. There's an incident on the 14th that you understand takes place in Towanda, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Then there's an incident on the 15th, and I want to focus on the incident alleged on the 15th. Particularly, it's my understanding that you believe that Mr. Shepard or you interviewed Mr. Graham, and he spoke of taking a car, correct?
Yes.
Okay. It's not clear who owns the car. Is that fair?
Yes. That's the way I
Okay.
understood it. Yes.
And I say that because if I understood your testimony correctly, it turns out the car's not properly registered to either one of them. Does that sound right?
That sounds correct. Yes.
Okay. Maybe more accurately, it's the tag that's on it is not assigned to that car.
Yes.
Okay. Is it my understanding the car essentially is jointly owned between the 2 of them, or at least shared between the 2 of them? Is that fair?
That was my understanding. Yes.
Okay. Now, just so we can go background here, Mr. Graham and Ms. Shepard, do you know what their relationship is? Are they living together? Are they boyfriend, girlfriend, and live apart? What exactly is that relationship?
The way it was described to me was that they were in a romantic relationship and were living together at a residence in Towanda.
Okay. And as I understand it, had been for quite some time, correct?
I believe a little over a year by that point.
Now, this particular day, on the 15th, there is a dispute over who's going to take the car, correct?
Yes.
Okay. When the car was ultimately taken by Mr. Graham, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And just so I'm clear, just so we're clear, this is a car that is shared between the 2 parties. It would not be unusual for Mr. Graham to be driving this vehicle, as you understand it from the 2 parties, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, within that car is a purse, correct?
The way it was described to me, yes.
Okay. In fact, my understanding reading through this, the purse is actually found in the back seat of the car by law enforcement. Is that correct?
I don't know where it was discovered.
You don't know? Okay.
No, I was not there.
Okay, fair enough. Now, you've not had a chance to speak with Ms. Shepard, correct? Just a reminder.
No, I have not.
Okay. You don't have any understanding as to whether or not Ms. Shepard routinely has a firearm, carries a firearm, and where that firearm might routinely be. Correct?
I don't know her routines, no.
Okay. you don't have any way to know whether or not a firearm is in any particular person in a given time, do you?
I don't have any direct knowledge of it, no.
Well, even go broader than that. You don't have X-ray vision to be able to look at a person and see whether it's a gun in it, do you? As
No, I don't.
far as you know, most people don't have that sort of X-ray vision to know whether or not a firearm is inside a container.
Not a normal person, no.
Okay. Well, I hope not. So you indicated that you believed, and in fact, the words you used, you felt that he had taken the purse and knew the firearm was in it. You felt, your words. Why did you feel that he knew the gun is in the purse?
Based on his responses, when asked about weapons, he introduced the concept of the firearm. I hadn't introduced that, and Detective
Okay.
Akers hadn't either.
Okay. When you say weapon, I don't know about you, when you say weapon, the first thing that pops into my head is a firearm. I would guess the first thing that pops into most people's head is a firearm. When we think of weapon, that's kind of the standard fallback that pops into. Would you agree with that?
I would say that could be accurate, yes.
Okay, so when you say the word weapon, he pretty routinely thinks gun. Most people routinely think gun. Fair?
That's fair.
Okay. So his response, when he mentions the word gun, that doesn't necessarily mean that he took a gun. It means that when you say weapon, he thinks gun. Fair?
Yes.
Okay. He didn't give you any info. He didn't actually state to you at all that he knew there was a firearm in that purse, did he?
Not in that purse, no.
Okay. Was he ever asked specifically whether or not he was aware that gun was in the purse?
Yes.
He was asked. What did he say?
His statement was that he had found the gun in the purse after he returned home to Towanda, and he was looking for his cell phone.
Okay, so his statement is that he found the gun when he's looking for his cell phone in the purse, correct?
That was his statement, yes.
Okay. Now, assuming that's the case, he would necessarily not have known the gun was there at the time he took it, correct?
According to the information that I got, he was
I didn't ask you what you got. I'm taking, assuming that his statement is correct. His statement is he found the gun. That necessarily would mean his statement is that he didn't know it was there until he found it, correct?
that was his statement, yes.
Okay, because that's when we say we find something, we're kind of inferring that we didn't know it was there before we found it. Fair?
That's what you would say if that was the case, yes.
Okay. And so we're clear, the firearm is in Ms. Shepard's purse, correct?
That's what it was.
Agree, Matt. I would object to a lot of what's going on here, but the prosecutor's letting it go, and James is doing a good job.
Was explained to me, yes.
Okay. Are you married?
I am.
You are. Do you routinely have access to women's purses?
I guess I don't understand your question.
Well, here's the reason I'm asking this. I've been married for 45 years here in a little bit. My wife's purse is still a mystery zone. I don't go there unless there's some good reason to. Do you routinely get into your wife's purse?
I'm not sure what that has to do with the situation. I will say that it's not a habit of mine to go through my wife's purse.
I would not think it would be. Would be fair to say that most husbands Their wives may have lots of things on a purse that they're not aware of. Fair?
Your Honor,
I can't-
objection, calls for speculation.
Objection overruled.
Would that be fair that lots of men have, their wives may have things in their purses they're not aware of?
Based on my experience, that could be the case.
I'm done testifying. I didn't even get cross-examined, but he's cross-examining.
Ms. Sperry?
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Barry,
just tell somebody I'm done.
Detective Sperry.
Yeah, I,
Okay.
okay.
Okay. Please proceed with cross-examination, Mr. Watts.
Okay. Whole point to all this is when Mr. Graham tells you that he didn't know the gun was there, that's not particularly beyond the realm of possibility, is it?
That is possible, yes.
Okay. I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Watts. Redirect, Ms. Norris.
Detective, did you have discussions with the defendant regarding a screwdriver?
Yes.
Your Honor, it's beyond the scope of cross-examination.
And Your Honor, I would say that it's not because it refers to weapons.
Objection overruled. You may proceed.
Did you talk to him about a screwdriver used as a weapon?
Yes, I asked him if a screwdriver had ever been used as a weapon by him against Miss Shepard. And he denied that it had.
But the information that you had was that he had.
Yes, the day prior in Towanda, yes.
And regarding a screwdriver as a weapon, did you discuss that prior to talking about the firearm?
I don't believe I did. I believe that discussion came after the talk of the firearm. I don't recall the exact order that it was discussed in.
Sure. And I do hate to ask this, but if your wife had a gun in her purse, would you know?
I would, yes.
No further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Norris. Recross, Mr. Watts.
Not at this time, Your Honor. Thank you.
Any reason why Detective Haynes cannot be excused from the proceedings, Ms. Norris
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
and Mr. Watts?
No, Your Honor.
And Detective Haynes, you're free to go or stay as you wish.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And Ms. Norris, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, I would call Rella Shepard.
And Rella Shepard, if you'd raise your right hand, I'll administer an oath. You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause now hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. And you're on remote currently, or you're on mute. You're on mute at this time.
There.
That was the
Can you hear me
argument.
now?
Yes. Once again, I'll administer the oath. You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause now hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Please speak slowly and deliberately. Please wait until the question is fully asked until you answer. Please proceed with direct examination. Ms. Norris.
Please state your name for the record.
Rella Diane Shepard.
And Ms. Shepard, on April 14 and 15 of 2025, what town did you live in?
Towanda, Kansas.
And whom did you live with?
Travis Graham.
Okay. And what was your relationship with Mr. Graham?
We were in a personal relationship. He was my boyfriend.
Okay. And was there an incident at your house in Towanda on April 14th with Mr. Graham?
Yes.
And can you tell the court what happened?
You know, I really can't remember everything. I mean, I know we got into an argument and I don't really remember all the details.
Okay. Did you have injuries from the incident?
Yes, I had some bruising.
Okay. And did you vomit from the incident?
Objection, Your Honor. Leave.
Sustained.
You said you had injuries, you had some bruising. Were there any other issues that you had after the incident?
I don't believe so. Just the bruising and stuff.
Did you go see, did you get medical attention?
No, not that day. I did not.
Did you go another day following that?
I did, just to get checked out and everything was fine.
And did they take a bunch of pictures?
Yes.
Was that over, let's see, in Wichita at one of the hospitals?
Yes.
Okay. And were there any weapons used?
No.
Or things used as a weapon, not necessarily normally a weapon?
I don't believe so.
Did you tell law enforcement that there was a screwdriver?
Objection, Your Honor. Leading.
Objection sustained.
Now, did you talk to the sheriff's department about what happened in your house in Towanda?
Yes.
And do you remember talking to Detective Sperry?
Yes, I know. I talked to several people that day. Yes.
Okay. And then did you end up talking to more law enforcement about another incident that happened in El Dorado?
Yes.
Okay. And where did you talk to law enforcement at?
I believe it was at Tom Moore's house.
Okay. And what happened in the city of El Dorado that law enforcement was talking to you about?
Just we had an issue when we were trying to figure out what we were doing when that day.
And who's we?
Travis and I.
Okay. And you do you share a vehicle with the defendant?
Yes.
And who owns that vehicle?
I do. He
So
paid for it though.
You're the registered owner of the vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. And do you normally drive the vehicle or no?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have more than one vehicle?
No.
And do you have a firearm, a handgun or a long gun?
I do.
And how long have you had that?
I'm not sure. Quite a while. Years.
Okay. And how long did you live with Mr. Graham?
About a year and a half.
Okay. And where do you normally keep your handgun?
Locked up in my purse.
So you carry it in your purse on a regular?
Yes, I did.
And why do you say it that way? I did.
Well, because I don't have my gun in my possession now.
I'm guessing law enforcement took it as
Yes.
part of their investigation.
Yes.
Okay. And did Mr. Graham know that that you had a handgun?
Yes, but I'm not sure he knew it was in my purse that day because it had gotten out of my purse the day prior.
But you carry it in your purse pretty much every day, or you did until it got taken into evidence.
Yes.
Okay. What ended up happening in El Dorado with the vehicle?
We just got into an argument about the vehicle. And he ended up taking the vehicle.
Okay, and was that had you agreed to that?
Not prior, but I mean, I was fine with that. He paid for the vehicle. He bought the vehicle for me. I had no problem with him taking the vehicle. I just
Okay.
wanted my things out of the vehicle.
What was that last part?
I just wanted my things out of the vehicle. He had, I mean, in my opinion, he had a right to have the vehicle because he paid for it. So,
Okay, but your things were in it and you wanted those.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what things were in the vehicle that you wanted that day?
I believe the only thing I was concerned with was my purse.
Okay. And had you been driving
Yes.
prior to this?
Yes.
Okay. And had you gone to pick him up, or
Yeah.
where was he at?
He was at jail. The police called me to come pick him up that morning.
Okay. And that's completely unrelated to what you talked to law enforcement about?
Correct.
On 15th?
Correct.
Okay. And you said that you wanted things out of the car, and you said basically mostly that was your purse. Did you have a discussion about that with the defendant that day?
I'm not, I mean, I thought I did, but I'm not sure.
And did you have any did the defendant strike you in the head
That day, no.
the day before?
Yes.
Did you end up with did you have a black eye?
I'm not sure. I mean, there's pictures, so I don't remember. I had bruising. I don't remember where all I had bruises at.
Okay. Have you lost any other memories since that incident?
Yeah, I've had a lot of stuff going on right now in my life, and yes, I've got a lot of things that I've just, craziness is happening.
Thank you, Ms. Shepard. I don't think I have any further questions, but Mr. Watts may have some follow-up for you, okay?
Sure.
Thank you, Ms. Norris. Cross-examination, Mr. Watts.
Thank you, Your Honor. I want to focus on, you picked up Mr. Graham on the 15th, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that's the morning of the 15th.
Yes.
Is that right?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Now, This vehicle, if I can ask, is this a Jeep? Is that right?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
A Gladiator, if I remember right.
No,
It's not.
it's a Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Okay, Grand Cherokee, my fault. I don't know why Gladiator stuck in my head, but okay. There's a Grand Cherokee. As I understand it, it's a vehicle that is shared between the two of you. Both of you would normally drive the vehicle. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So that day on the 15th, you picked him up from the jail, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
He walks out of the jail. Do you get in the passenger side?
Yes.
Okay. So he gets out of the jail. He gets in the passenger side. Where'd you go?
We drove to our friend house here in El Dorado.
Okay, so you went to your friend's house in El Dorado. Did you stay there for a while or did you split up at that point? What happened there?
We split up immediately. That's
Okay. And at that point, if I understand correctly, and I'm kind of reading you a little bit here, that point is where who's going to take the car?
right.
Okay. And as I take it, Mr. Graham wanted to take the car and go on to Towanda.
Yeah, I don't know where he was going, but yes, he wanted to take the car.
Okay. And you didn't want him to take it, or are you going to stay there?
I wasn't sure. I just didn't want him to take it at that point because I wasn't clear on the plan.
Okay. So there's a dispute as to what was going to happen the rest of the day and who was going to take the car. There's a argument over that. Fair?
Yes.
Okay. And ultimately, after the dispute, Mr. Graham ends up taking the car, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And as you noted earlier, you want to make sure you got your stuff out of it.
Correct.
Okay. Primarily your purse for obvious reasons.
Right.
Okay. In fact, it's the case that the purse ended up getting left in the back seat. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't know where it was, but yeah, it was not with me.
That could be.
So it's not with you. Well, kind of rule it by process of elimination here. I presume you would have had your purse when you went to pick him up.
Correct.
Okay. And at some point, he takes the car and it's not with you. Presumably it's left in the car.
Correct.
Okay. Part of this discussion and dispute between you and Mr. Graham that morning did not include the contents of the purse, did it?
No,
In other words, you didn't talk about what was in the purse at all, correct?
I don't believe so. No.
That's not something you typically talk about with somebody, is the contents of your purse.
Right.
Okay. Um, and as you've testified that you wouldn't have a problem with him taking the car, as you put it, he paid for it. It was just who's going to keep it that day, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, there wasn't any physical force used to take this car or the items in it from you, was there?
No.
He didn't threaten you at all to get to take the car and its contents, did he?
No.
Certainly didn't wave a weapon in front of you, whether it be a knife or a gun or a pipe.
Absolutely not.
Nothing like that.
No.
And I presume, and it's going to sound like a silly question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. I presume you did not inventory the contents of the car before he left.
No.
Okay. Now, I had this conversation a little bit with the officer just before you. Is Mr. Graham would not have direct knowledge of the contents of your purse at any given time, would he?
No,
He's typically not in your purse, is he?
no, he never gets in my purse.
Was Mr. Graham aware that you owned a firearm?
I'm sure he was.
But he
I-
wouldn't know where it's at any given time. Fair?
Right.
Okay. I don't think I have any other questions for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Watts. Any redirect, Miss Norris?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Any reason why the witness, Miss Shepard, may not be excused from the proceedings, Miss Norris?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Watts?
No, Your Honor.
And Miss Shepard, you're free to go or stay as you wish.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, state would call Detective Akers.
Which the bite mark caused an injury.
And Detective Akers, if you would unmute and then subsequently raise your right hand. You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause now in hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do.
Detective Akers, please speak slowly and distinctly. Please be sure to wait until question is fully asked before you answer. And the court will proceed with direct examination by Miss Norris.
Please state your name and occupation for the record.
My name is Thomas Akers. I'm a detective with the Butler County Sheriff's Office.
And how long have you been in law enforcement?
Total about 14 years.
And how long with the Sheriff's Office?
All the 14
And how long as a detective?
for the last 4.
Okay. And did you end up involved in a case involving Travis Graham and Rochelle Shepard?
Yes, I did.
And what was your role in that case?
We had an initial report that came out about a case that potentially covered over the jurisdiction of El Dorado and the Butler County Sheriff's Office. We understood that Miss Rochella was at another address. It's actually Deputy Moore's residence, and she was reporting that she had been attacked by Mr. Travis Graham.
Okay. And so with that information, what was your role, or what did you do first?
Detective Sperry and I responded to the scene initially together. It was determined that she would take lead on the case. When we arrived at Deputy Moore's residence, Miss Rochella Shepard was in the front yard. We could see her. We didn't necessarily take part in any interviews of her. That was done by patrol officers and deputies that responded to the scene to initially understand what was going on. At that point, I could see that Miss Shepard had several injuries over her, to include a large injury over her face and over her leg. So we understood that she was reporting through overhearing her conversation with the officers that she was reporting that Mr. Shepard, or excuse me, Mr. Graham was responsible for these injuries, and that it spanned over spanned over 2 days worth of deals. The most recent having occurred in El Dorado, the latter of which occurred the day before in Towanda.
Okay. And did you do any interviews?
I did.
And who did you interview?
In this investigation, I interviewed Mr. Graham.
And did you do any searches?
I did.
And what did you search?
I applied for search warrant, which was granted through the district court for the residence that was shared in common between Miss Shepard, Mr. Graham, 408 East North Street in Towanda.
Okay. And did you locate any weapons when you did the search?
We did. Located a 9mm Ruger, I believe it was LC9. It was located within a purse that was identified as being Miss Shepard's in the residence.
And about how big is this purse?
It's, as far as purses go, it's one of the larger ones.
Okay. And did you find any other weapons?
Not to my knowledge of any relevance at the house, no.
Okay. Did you talk? Well, I guess let's back up. How was the handgun kept in the purse? Just loose or?
When we discovered the handgun, sorry. When we discovered the handgun, it was inside of a black leather holster. It's kind of a compact holster in itself. It's not necessarily like you would find on a police officer's duty belt. And it was within the purse I believe it's a carry and conceal purse itself. The handgun itself was found inside the purse.
Okay. And did you find any documents or letters or anything near the purse?
There was one document that was handwritten on the back of an advertisement. This letter had been identified by Mr. Graham to me earlier in my interview with him, that he hand wrote and laid on top of the purse or near the purse. During the search, we found the note on top of the purse located on the coffee table in the front room.
And what was the contents of the note?
It was a little difficult to read. However, it did express regret and apology. And I recall specifically that it stated that, from my understanding, Mr. Graham was trying to relay that he was not intending to steal from Rella.
Okay. And did you talk to him in your interview about any threats he may have made to Miss Shepard?
Yes, I did.
And how did that play out?
Initially, because this was a joint interview between Detective Haynes and I, which he's been promoted Lieutenant Haynes. During the interview, we kind of covered over both incidences. During the initial portion of the interview, we discussed the incidents that happened on that day, on April 15th, I believe. When we discussed the issues that we had become aware of at this address in Towanda, initially, Mr. Graham said that he didn't want to discuss it because it was too personal. As the conversation went on, we continued to ask about what happened because we understood that there's a potentiality for a domestic incident to have occurred. A lot of the injuries that Miss Rella had reported, we suspected were because of this incident. During the interview, Mr. Graham admits that he did get into a physical exchange with Rella at the address of 408 East North Street, during which he admits he grabbed her hair and grabbed her by the throat. He also admitted to having shoved her and causing her to fall into a bathtub. We had reports, or the information that I had was given to me by Detective Sperry concerning threats that were made against Miss Shepard's life, specifically with a screwdriver. I asked Mr. Graham about these specific threats. He initially denied them, though he did offer a caveat that whatever Miss Shepard said was likely the truth.
Okay. Thank you, Detective Akers. I don't think I have anything further, but Mr. Watts may have some follow-up.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Norris. Cross-examination, Mr. Watts.
Thank you, Your Honor. I want to make sure I understand correctly. You were at Mr. Moore's residence when Ms. Shepard initially reported to Mr. Moore?
No.
No. Well, maybe I misunderstood. Do you and Detective Sperry went to Mr. Moore's residence?
Yes, we did.
Okay, and you weren't taking part in an interview there, but you kind of observed Ms. Shepard there.
Correct.
Okay, and later you asked her to come in and do an interview.
Correct.
Okay. Now, at that interview, you noted some injuries, correct?
Yes.
And you had also learned during that interview that there had been a physical altercation, it sounds like, in Towanda.
Correct.
You also learned, if I understand correctly, during that interview, that there was a 9mm firearm that had been kept in her purse.
Correct.
Okay. She told you that, correct?
Miss Shepard and I never had a conversation. This is information that was learned through Detective Sperry's interview. Well, excuse me, Detective Sperry and I believe Detective Tamat's interview.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so you learned through Detective Sperry that there was this 9mm in the purse.
That's correct.
Okay. Now, a large part of this, as it turns out, turns on what Mr. Graham knew or might have known or could have known. You did an interview with Mr. Graham on the 15th?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And during that interview, Mr. Graham indicated he acknowledged that there was a dispute and a fight between himself and Ms. Shepard.
That's correct.
Okay. He did not, however, indicate that he had struck her or hit her, but he basically says she's an honest person.
I can't necessarily agree with that. He did admit that he grabbed her by the hair and by the throat.
Okay.
And he did express that was during an argument.
Okay. At some point, he acknowledges, and there's a part of this is as to this purse and where that and how that purse ends up in the car. Mr. Graham basically told you that he ended up taking the car, correct?
Yes.
And the purse ends up in the back seat of the car.
Yes.
Okay. He ends up taking that purse back to the residence.
Thank you.
The pair's residence in Ms. Shepard's. Ms. Shepard, you probably want to mute.
Ms. Shepard, yes, thank you.
There we go. The car ends up going back to the Towanda address, correct?
Yes, it does.
And the purse ends up going inside the house, correct?
Yes.
And I say that because you did a search warrant of that residence, correct?
Yes, I did.
And at that search warrant, during that search warrant, you found the purse.
Yes.
Okay. Where did you find it?
As you come in through front porch, it's covered and closed. Walk into the first room, which is a living room. It's sitting on the living room table.
Okay. So the purse is on the living room table. You said it's a fairly large purse.
Yes.
Okay. And one designed for carrying a firearm.
Yes.
You've seen purses like this before?
Yes,
Where
I
you
have.
Like a dedicated pocket for a gun.
Yes.
Okay. And I take it you found the gun in the purse.
Correct.
And was it found in the normal dedicated pocket, the place where you would put a gun in this sort of purse?
I don't exactly recall, but I know that it was inside the purse.
Okay. And also you mentioned it's in a holster, like a plastic holster, a cloth holster.
I believe it was either leather or faux leather. Yes.
Okay.
Was it Corinthian leather? That's
Now,
what we really want to know.
I'm looking at your narrative on page 3 of 4 of your narrative. Mr. Graham indicates basically he took the purse out of the car and put it inside the house and laid it on the table, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And he indicates that in the purse he was looking for his cell phone, correct?
May I refer to my report?
That
Please.
is my specialty, meatball.
Yes, that's correct. I recall.
Okay. In fact, what he indicated to you is that as he's looking for his cell phone, he discovers the gun, didn't he?
Yes.
Okay. So he's looking through the purse for his cell phone. He finds the gun. The gun remains right there in the purse, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's all overpriced Chinese stuff, no matter what the label is.
Okay. I don't think I have any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Watts. Redirect, Ms. Norris.
Based on information that you gleaned from Mr. Graham, the defendant, did you think he knew that the gun was in the purse?
He expressed direct knowledge of it. So yes.
Meatball, because we're adults,
Okay.
it's interesting.
How so?
He said he discovered the gun in the purse as he was trying to look through it for his phone.
No. I mean, did he know it was in there prior to getting his phone?
Yes.
And he had explained that to you at some point during your interview?
The explanation is that he understood that Miss Rochella had a gun and knew that she had it with her. Then he also discovers it in the purse.
Okay. And
You always have my back, Andrew.
Judge, real quick, I'm gonna share screen if I could.
Yes.
Thank you. Belen's gonna have to turn on the sharing.
I did.
Let's try this again. And Detective Akers, Is this the purse?
Yes, that's the purse.
And are those your hands?
Believe those are Detective Sperry's hands.
Okay, and is that basically where the gun was found?
It is.
Okay. That's not a very big purse.
I would recognize those
No.
gloves anyway.
Well, it's sizable enough, as I recall it.
I don't think I have any further questions. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Norris. Thank you, Lynn, for setting up that screen share. And recross examination, Mr. Watts.
I remind me, you did not interview Ms. Shepard.
No, I did not.
Mr. Graham didn't indicate that he intentionally took the purse, did he? His indication was that it was simply left in the car, correct?
That part is a little bit fuzzy, but at the ultimate conclusion, he understood that the purse was inside the back seat of the car when he took the car.
Okay. I'm not sure exactly what that means. If
Your Honor, I think we're outside the scope of direct or redirect.
Objection rule. Please proceed, Mr. Watts.
you understood that Mr. Shepard or Ms. Shepard and Mr. Graham had a dispute over who was going to take the car, correct?
Yes.
And ultimately, Mr. Graham ended up taking the car, correct?
Yes.
And they didn't leave on particularly good terms. They just fought over who was going to take the car, correct?
Your Honor, objection. Well outside redirect.
Objection rule.
Is that correct?
Can you restate the question?
That they had a dispute, a fight over who was going to take the car.
Yes.
Okay. It's not your understanding that Mr. Graham took the car intentionally with the purse, is it? It's your understanding that Mr. Graham took the car and the purse happened to be in it.
Yes.
Okay. I have nothing else. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Watts. Any further inquiry, Ms. Norris?
Just one question. Deputy Agers, or Detective Agers, that was just Mr. Graham's opinion, or that was his statement. That's not necessarily the information that you ended up with from all parties involved, correct?
That is correct. That was conflicting to the information reported by Ms. Shepard to Detective Sperry.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further, Mr. Watts?
No, Your Honor.
Very well. Any reason why Detective Akers may not be excused from the proceedings, Ms. Norris?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Watts?
No, Your Honor.
And Detective Akers, you're free to go or stay as you wish.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Further witnesses, Your Honor.
Pardon me?
No further witnesses for the state.
Thank you, Ms. Norris. And evidence to present, Mr. Watts?
No witnesses at this hearing, Your Honor, would ask to be heard on the determination of probable cause.
Argument to the court, Ms. Norris?
Your Honor, rebuttal only.
And argument, Mr. Watts?
Easy way. Okay. There are, in this case, 3 felonies before the court that are the subject of the probable cause determination, and I'll just take them one at a time. The first felony is a aggravated assault with the weapon here being a screwdriver. We've heard no testimony from any witness that an aggravated assault occurred with a weapon, particularly a screwdriver. That did not come, in fact, that could only have come from Ms. Shepard, and it did not come from Ms. Shepard. Nor did it come secondhand, as it turns out, from Ms. Sperry in her interview with Ms. Shepard. There's no testimony from any witness that there was ever a threat to Ms. Shepard with a screwdriver being used as a deadly weapon. So I think there is no basis for count one as to probable cause, aggravated assault with particularly with the weapon named as the alleged weapon. Second, and much of this prelim has turned on this issue, aggravated robbery. Robbery requires taking property with threat of bodily harm or inflicting bodily harm. We heard from Ms. Shepard directly, and her testimony is very clear. There was never any threat of bodily harm, never any infliction of bodily harm in order to take, and this is the key, the bag, the gun, and the vehicle. This all turns on the fight on the 15th over who was going to have the car. And there's no question that there was a dispute over who was going to keep the car. She was going to stay in town. He was going to Towanda. Who's going to have the car? However, there's no testimony that part of that dispute that this bag, gun, and vehicle were taken by force from Ms. Shepard. That testimony did not come from Ms. Shepard, nor did it come from Ms. Shepard through any other witnesses who interviewed her. That testimony simply was not here today. There's no testimony that the gun and the bag and the vehicle and the gun and bag that was inside it was taken from her by force or threat of force. That testimony simply does not exist. It was not before the court. Third turns on a couple of things. One is, was he in possession of a firearm, a handgun? Possession, as we are all well aware, because we've taken this pick in front of juries many, many times, requires knowledge and control, requires some knowledge of the item and some level of control over it. The testimony, however, is that Mr. Graham may have been aware, probably was aware, that Ms. Shepard had a firearm. And he's aware that she carries it from time to time. And he's probably aware that from time to time it's in the purse. What there is not knowledge of and testimony of is that Mr. Graham was aware of that firearm was in the purse, nor is there testimony that he intentionally took that purse with the intent of possessing that firearm. In fact, the testimony from both Ms. Shepard and Mr. Graham, who were the only persons who would know, by the way, they were the only ones there, was that the taking of the purse was inadvertent to taking the vehicle, and that Mr. Graham, frankly, didn't know what was in the purse. May have the gun have been in it? Maybe. We don't know. May have not have been in it? Maybe. We don't know. It turns out the testimony from Mr. Graham is that he found the gun in the purse as he's looking for his cell phone, but that does not mean that he has possession of the firearm. He's looking for his cell phone. He inadvertently finds the gun, and he's aware he's probably not supposed to have it. There is another problem, however, with that criminal possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Under the statute, it's not even clear that he's a convicted felon. It is the case that there is a journal entry from 2020, from actually November of 2021 is the sentencing date in that case. We don't know from that journal entry how long he was on probation, or whether or not he did time, or how much time he had, or how much credit he might have had. We don't know from this journal entry when his supervision from that case expired. And if you look at the statute, and the statute is 216304 sub 2, which is exactly what the state has charged. And 6104 sub 2, I will point out, requires that the person be not have a firearm within 3 years from satisfying the sentence imposed, or the diversion, or the probation. We have no information whatsoever as to when the sentence imposed was completed, or the diversion was completed. I presume it's not a diversion since there's a journal entry, or a probation was completed. We don't know when that is completed. By statute, if the possession of this firearm is outside 3 years from the end of that probation or sentence, assuming that the conviction was, the court did not find that a firearm was used in the conviction of the crime, in the commission of the crime, and that's not the case, that's not in the journal entry, then the disqualifying portion under the statute is 3 years. And there's no evidence. There is certainly plenty of time for 3 years to have gone by between the end of his probation or sentence and this incident. So for a number of reasons, there simply is not probable cause as to the criminal possession of a firearm. Now, the misdemeanors are not before us, a domestic battery and a driving while suspended. But Judge, I don't think, even given the lowered standard for probable cause, and it is a low bar. In fact, it's an incredibly low bar, as it turns out. There's no evidence of a screwdriver being used as a weapon. There's no evidence of the gun, vehicle, or bag being taken by force. That's certainly not the testimony of Ms. Shepard. And there's no evidence of the possession of the handgun by, as we understand possession, being knowledge and control, nor even assuming he possessed it, is there evidence that it's within the 3-year period that would disqualify him following this conviction from the Sedgwick County case. So this is unusual, Judge, but I don't think that the state has even met probable cause as there are 3 felonies before the court this afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Watts. And rebuttal from the state, Ms. Norris.
Yes, Your Honor. Regarding count 1, I don't believe that Mr. Watts was listening to the same testimony. Detective Sperry discussed the ag assault with a screwdriver around the same time that we were discussing that her injuries were consistent with what Detective Sperry was seeing when she interviewed Ms. Shepard. Ms. Shepard says that she has some memory issues regarding all of these incidents, but she was very clear when she talked to Deputy Moore that the defendant took the purse with her gun and the vehicle by force. He had bit her, struck her, was trying to keep the bag away from her. Whether you agree that the bag and the gun were taken by force and not the vehicle, either way, there was an aggravated robbery from her person, and there was bodily harm done because she was bitten multiple times, and there were multiple witnesses who noticed the marks. And again, back to injuries were consistent with what was described as having happened. And all of this was described by Ms. Shepard to Detective Sperry and Deputy Moore for certain on the day, basically after they happened. One happened on the 14th, which was the ag assault. And actually, based on the testimony from Detective Sperry, there's probably an aggravated domestic violence battery, or at the very least, an aggravated battery with the DV tag based on the multiple hits to the head that the victim received, that she lost, that she was nauseous and vomiting and very dizzy. Those were all described by Ms. Shepard to Detective Sperry right after this happened. And regarding regarding count 1 and count 2, there might even be some additional felonies that the court could foreseeably find. Again, the aggravated battery and an aggravated DV battery, because based on the information provided. And as far as the defendant didn't testify, the defendant's view on everything was inconsistent with information provided by other people, basically at the time, right after the incidents. So, Your Honor, I do believe that the court can find probable cause on counts 1 and 2. There, like I said, there are multiple witnesses that discuss all that: Detective Akers, Deputy Moore, Detective Sperry, Lieutenant Haynes, all who have no personal interest, only professional interest in this case or in these people or in their lives. No reason to tell the court anything that they did not learn as part of their investigation. And Your Honor, regarding the count 3, I think that we had charged it under the theory that it was 5 years. And I didn't get additional journal entries. I only got the sentencing journal entry. So I would ask the court to reserve judgment on count 3 for purposes of getting additional journal entries from Sedgwick County at this time. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Norris. The court has had the opportunity to listen to the evidence as presented today. Also has had an opportunity to consider the arguments as advanced by the state and the defense. In regards to count 1, aggravated assault, the court does not find probable cause to believe that Mr. Graham did commit the same. As to count 2, aggravated robbery, the court does not find probable cause to believe that Mr. Graham committed the same. And count 3, criminal possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, the court does not find probable cause to believe that Mr. Graham committed the crime as alleged. The court does find that not addressed at this preliminary hearing were counts 4, domestic battery, class B, person misdemeanor, and count 5, driving while licenses suspended or canceled, class B, non-person misdemeanor. The court will take some time if counsel wish to confer in a breakout room, and then Mr. Watts to confer with his client as to how the parties wish to proceed on. If that would be appropriate between counsel and also in regards to disposition of the case today. If disposition of the case today is...
This was an absolute no-brainer on those charges. It just, based on the evidence, it wasn't even close. The judge did the right thing. I can't imagine he wouldn't.
Deemed not appropriate, the court can simply set this for a pretrial conference plea docket and go forward at that time.
Your Honor, prefer that the court just set a date.
Okay, very well.
And
I believe August 1, 2025 at 9 a.m. and jury trial, if need be, August 5, 2025 at 9 a.m.
She just wanted another month.
Will this be in person, Your Honor?
It will be by Zoom.
Yes,
The
Your Honor.
pretrial conference plea docket hearing will be by Zoom. And Mr. Watts, motion in regards to bond.
that's, yeah. Your Honor, the bond is currently set at $20,000. My understanding, given the ruling by the court, we'd ask the bond be significantly modified. This, at this point, is a domestic violence battery and driving while suspended. Frankly, Judge, I would think a $500 to $1,000 cash or surety bond would be sufficient. He has been in custody at this point since well, mid-April.
Pretty
So,
much.
local resident, and I frankly have not had a chance to speak with my client about bond because given the nature of the charges that were pending, this is not something we've discussed. But Judge, I would think $1,000 to $1,500 bond would be more than sufficient for what is now a misdemeanor offense.
Thank you, Mr. Watts. And recommendation as far as bond is concerned, Ms. Norris.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, state would be requesting that the bond be maintained as cash or surety. Defendant obviously previously has a criminal threat in his history. I was going back through his history.
History. How long? I've been in trouble forever.
Second, Judge.
Hang on,
Pull up the.
Mr.
Just a
Graham.
moment. Ms. Norris, please proceed.
Your Honor, he has a criminal threat, a rape case, a bunch of traffic, theft, identity theft, no valid driver's license. I mean, he has a escape. So he's at least a B on the grid. I do think there's public safety issue regarding this defendant.
Well, those are some damn fine arguments for
And
bond.
Your Honor, we will be requesting if the court is going to reduce the bond, that it certainly still be maintained as a cash or surety. But I don't believe that 1,500 is appropriate based on his extensive history, and he's got some rather serious person crimes.
There's a rape conviction, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, that's what my notes reflect in the worksheet from his basically going through his criminal history. And looks like an identity theft.
Okay, when was the rape case?
I agree. Based on that, if that history is accurate, this guy is trouble. No two ways about it. He is trouble. I'm guessing he is guilty of DV, but that's not what's before the court today. The charges before the court today, he's not guilty of. He's just not. He's guilty of lots of stuff. Hit him with the stuff that he's guilty of. That's how our system works.
I am looking for the date, Judge. Let's see. There was a criminal threat TV that's in 2011. Aggravated battery. UI 2016. It looks like before 2011. I'm still working my way through. 1990.
Oh, okay, so
Along with a
35 years.
burglary.
So 35 years ago, there was a rape and a burglary?
Yes.
1989, Your Honor. Yeah.
Okay. does criminal history show if time was served on that 1989 rape and burglary case or probation?
Judge Casper doesn't show, but I'd be shocked if there wasn't time served on a
Yeah.
level of a charge.
Okay. All right. The court does grant motion to modify bond. Court does order a $1,500 cash or surety bond, $1,500 cash or surety bond subject to the standard conditions of bond. In addition, the court specifically orders you, Mr. Graham, to have no contact with the alleged victim, and that is Miss Shepard. The court orders you to not possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and the court does order you to personally appear at the Butler County Judicial Building or at Mr. Watts's office for that next appearance, pretrial conference plea docket, Friday, August 1st, 2025 at 9 a.m. in person at Mr. Watts's office or at the Butler County Judicial Building. In the event you do make the new bond that has been ordered by the court that modifies the old bond, new bond being $1,500 cash or surety bond. Any other matters to come before the court? Ms. Norris?
Your Honor, thank you.
And Mr. Watts?
No, Your Honor. Could I do a breakout with my client before we close up here, as we close up?
Yes, I'll ask Belen if she'd be kind to put that into a breakout room. There being nothing further to come before the court, court is in recess. Everyone have a good day.
Well, there you have it. Thank you, Zach. That was interesting. The only thing that surprises me, the prosecution either didn't talk to their victim witness or just, I don't know. They didn't have a case on these charges. I think that DV is going to stick. I think the driving charge is going to stick, but those weren't before the court today. But if your witness comes on and says he had access to the car and he didn't know about the purse, we're not going anywhere. It's wild. And then the bond reduction was also interesting. You know, it's hard for me I always give my thoughts. My thought is that the reduction was too much. I thought it should be reduced because significant charges were dropped. I thought it should definitely be reduced. But down to $1,500 seems low to me, but I'm not a judge and I don't know the factors that they have. I'm just saying that's my gut. That doesn't mean much. That doesn't mean much because I don't have to make those decisions every day. But my gut feeling is something more like $5,000. That doesn't make it right. I'm just telling you off the top of my head what I thought. Like it should have been reduced because those were major charges. It's an aggravated robbery. It's like major stuff, and now we're on to different thing altogether. Although I say the DV will stick. Who knows? Because if she's not going to cooperate with them, I mean, they have medical evidence, so they don't need cooperation as much. But if she's really not going to cooperate, maybe that doesn't even stick. However, the charges before the judge made the right decision. I see a lot of the stuff, and I understand that people are like, "Oh, he's a bad guy. He did some bad stuff in the past," and that may be so. Yeah, you may not like him or whatever, but as a matter of law, this is not close. This is not close. There was no probable cause. You asked the witness, and they just gutted essential elements of the charge. There's no way to go forward. That's how it is. Well, thank y'all for coming out. I appreciate it. I will see y'all soon.